Anita's off to her knitting group today in Portals Nous, so I'm dropping her off here and then I'll go for a little walk. Hopefully we'll catch up later. Have a lovely day.
Nice day. Bye everybody.
I just walked down to the far end of the village and Anita's gone off to her knitting group. I'm going to start at this end and I'm just going to gradually walk my way through the village. So here's one of the relatively newer shops. It's been here quite a long time. Selling all sorts of garden furniture, barbecues. And we come to some of the more established buildings and businesses along here. We used to come down here to the laundry and bring our bigger items that we couldn't do at home. And during the long summer holidays I used to come here to the carpenters and I used to buy wood, and it used to be a little family project. We would make things over the summer holidays, make a chest or a table, even a settee at one point. Quite adventurous in those days. Across the road we've got the Marina Portals, which is fully open and functioning. Like all the hotels here in the Mallorca, it's following the strict rules that we have. Hairdressers. The ever-present estate agents, those. This used to be where Delcy rented their cars from. Sadly, Leon passed away and the business changed hands, I think, quite some time ago. So the restaurants on this side are, well, they keep changing. This one's Moo Moo's. Across the road we've got Multimarine, which is the chandlery, anything you need for your boat. They have it, they'll get it for you. It's an excellent place. There's the Indian restaurant. We have been here and had a good meal. Sevilla. And yes, this is Delcy's, which sadly is no more. It's now for rent. Delcy's used to be greeting cards and all sorts of other things. That's where we used to get our videos in the days before satellite television, internet TV. British surgery here, having a bit of a makeover. We lived in Portals for many years, and it's certainly changed a lot during that time. Thank you. There's the pharmacy. It's one we actually go to quite regularly because we still use the doctors, and it's actually now in the yips. Tobacco's destroyed a couple of years ago. This building used to be Flintstones. Flintstones closed virtually overnight. Opened up as something else which I can't remember the name of because it didn't last long anyway. But it looks as though it's going to be opening again soon as Costa Gin. I hope the Costa bit doesn't refer to the price. So I think that's what closed the last place. It was just too expensive, so people didn't go. Historically, this block, which when it was new, had an Aldi here, which didn't last because of the supermarket across the road, which is Cedar. Cedar's very successful. Men are very popular. Hello. Just coming up to the square here, which in January, around about the 17th of January, San Antonio, we've always had a bit of of a fiesta, bit of a party, and right in the centre there'll be a bonfire right in this centre here, and people would come and roast their barbecue their sausages, grill their meat, and much of it would actually be provided by supermarket Ceylon free of charge. We didn't obviously have that this year or last year. I'm not sure about the previous year. We haven't been for a year or two. It was always something really quite popular. And when I refer to new blocks, it's because we lived here, it's 20 years ago. So you have to put things in a little bit of perspective. So what might be new to me is probably not new to you. That's a very nice Maserati. So this is a relatively new block. And here we used to have the mobile phone, Lady Telecom. We've had phones from there in the past, and certainly helped us out with various other things. In the corner there was a place where you can buy some vegetables. And used to be the doctors here. And it's a place, people have been asking where can you get COVID tests if you're in Portals or Portals Nous. And the Centro Medico here is advertising the fact that they do COVID tests. So one thing we didn't notice up above was that the Bank of Mark closed down, and that's because they've opened up here. It used to be a different bank. I think it was Banco Credito Balear many years ago, and has been derelict pretty much for many years. So Bank of Mark now taking that over. Coral Restaurant has been here for an age. Certainly when we very first came to the island, it's a bit shabby at the moment, so I'm guessing they may be closed. Anita likes to come down, usually to this part. In particular, she comes to the bookshop. She still likes to feel the paper, so she comes down to the Universal Bookshop. The lady in there that runs it organises the knitting group as well, or used to organise the knitting group. And this is Compass. This is the place where, if you want anything in the hardware line, this is the place to go in Portals Nous. Right down from a new bin, barbecue at the high standards, and I see there they do the new curtains, which we might be interested in. Fabrics. If you want a nut and a bolt, this is the place to go. They have everything. They're very extremely helpful, and we've known them well, all the time we've lived here, really, from when the mother and father run it to the sons. Across the road brings back lots of wonderful memories. This is l'Opera, the pizzeria, and we used to spend every Friday evening almost in the opera when it was run by Javier and Catherine. Catherine sadly passed away a few years ago, and Javier carried on running it for a while, but he's now retired. But still lives locally. We actually bumped into him a few weeks ago. Very nice to see him. We actually bumped into him in the ship. Just walking back up now into the village. So we walked from the west to the east of the village. Not a big village, but crams a lot in. We lived in the village, more or less in the centre of the village, for quite a number of years, so it still feels like home to us. And it's a place we always come back to. We come back to go to restaurants and bars to eat, and we also come back to do our shopping. We've kept our bank here. We've never changed our bank to anywhere else. It's just feels comfortable with what you know. This is Gemelli's in front of it. It's been closed during the winter time, which is fairly normal for any restaurant. may have changed hands, I'm not really sure. One in front of us, rude, looks a bit garish, not somewhere we've tried. Maybe one day. And this is the part of Sidon now. This is actually the paper shop. Come here and sometimes buy a lottery ticket from there. This is the supermarket, which we still get lots of our things from. And they have lots of English products. What they do have is an excellent selection of wines, and so Anita's very happy to go in there and see what they have. Solicitors. Just walk down this road a little bit. This is the marina. This is where we used to live, and it's more than 20 years ago now. It's a long time. But across the road we have Casa Paco, and sadly for us, happily for him, Paco, picture there, has retired. And I'm told now that somebody has actually taken over, and if you look at the work that's been doing here, so lots of work going on. And this is the car park, the white block. This white block wasn't here when we first came to Mallorca. When we first came to Mallorca, this was a derelict. There was nothing on this land, it was just a piece of grass where people would walk the dogs. And then they built this, and this is the car park. And we used to live in this house opposite. We lived there for many years until the owner decided he wanted to take it over again. In fact, what he really wanted to do was sell it. So we had to move out, and that's when we moved up to Canada. There are a number of other little businesses back there, but this, when we first came here, there was none of these locales were used. The children found it great to ride there. Bikes up and down there. One of them had a little pedal go-kart that they used. So this really does feel like home territory. And the road opposite, where Constance used to be, where that green building is now, that goes up into a residential area. July, so 2021, very hot. It's supposed to be a little bit cooler today. Yesterday, in some parts, it could get up to 36 degrees. Today, a little bit cooler, it's supposed to be. It's not feeling that much cooler to me today, but a little bit cooler maybe. And there are a few clouds in the sky, so we might get a little bit of a respite from the heat. So, another bank, this is La Caixa. I'm going through a bit of turmoil at the moment because they are cutting back on the number of offices. It's grown spectacularly over the years, and they just really have too many offices, so they're going to close a lot of them, and that's going to lead to redundancies. This used to be the Banca Mark, but it's now a supermarket, so we now have two supermarkets in Portals, so that's really quite interesting. And we're more or less back to where we started. It's where I actually started the video, and Anita went off to her knitting group, she's in the ship right across the road from Delsey's, so I'll just come back and just say hello to her and her friends. You got limited numbers today. Are you only 5 of you at the moment? There's more to come.
Oh yeah, really more.
It's getting a bit. Anita's cut my hair today. I'll leave you to judge whether she did a good job or not.
I'm saying that.
Oh, non-committal. Well, I'm happy with it. It's a lot cooler than it was yesterday. Right, enjoy yourselves, and I'll see you later somewhere, sometime. Bye. So the knitting group can actually get to quite big numbers, so I'm not sure what time it is yet. Lots of them will be arriving now. So lots of little roads that run off here. It gets a very busy little village because there's lots of people that do live in the area. We do have a few hotels. I think there's about half a dozen hotels in the immediate vicinity, and I think most of those hotels are now open because it's very cosmopolitan. There are all sorts of nationalities that live in Portals. Lots of British, but all sorts of other nationalities as well. So we moved out 20 years ago, and then sort of really exploded and became the busy village that it is now. This road that we used to live in, Caye Marina, leads down to the beach, so it's a very busy road. It can be a very busy road, particularly with cars parked outside. So it used to be two-way, and then they made it one way down, and then they changed their mind and made it one way up, and then they changed their mind and one way down. And I actually got fined for parking outside my house one day. That was really... Hi Barbara! That's Barbara. She's off to the knitting group. If you notice the car she's driving, these are little cars which don't require a proper driving license, a full driving license. Not sure whether they're legal in the UK. It's certainly very popular here with school kids who have them to go to school. It's the very expensive vehicles though. There's the big shop. There's a car park down there as well, which goes down to the car park below Sedon. I'm going to walk down towards the church. I might actually cross over the road here. There's a little bit of shade. The temperature's rising, and I do like to go into the shade. One more bar restaurant to mention, which has changed its name several times over the year, now called the Secret Garden. When we used to first came here, it was called Blank Renegro. And then over the years it's changed several times, including at one point owned by Julian Lennon. This is a road that walks down, or you go down to what used to be ASM. ASM was the American School of Mallorca, and it's funny that it still sticks in my mind as ASM. It did actually change its name to AIS, American International School, and at the time the rumours with the change was because there was problems in North Africa. And at the same time, the number of Americans dropped tremendously as the number of people working in Libya due to oil stopped. So the Americans pulled out, and eventually the school changed its name yet again, and is now a British school. It's referred to now as King Richard III School. It has its ups and downs, but it's still here. And it's one of many international schools on the island. Can't really see much, but there's a sign up there that says King Richard III College. we're going to carry on, and we're going to walk all the way down to the church, because this is where you get the most beautiful views from Portals. Just to the left here, it's where it used to be like a red ash football pitch, five-a-side football pitch. A few years ago they built a little sports complex. So here you can come. This is municipal, so anyone can come. And you can play football, you can play basketball. I'm not sure what's inside the buildings there. And on the other side, far side, there's a children's park. You can, the younger children can play on the swings, and the other little things you can climb on. I'm going to go down into the church, which is just over here. It's only in recent years, I'm not sure what I mean by recent, but they've had a gate here. This has always been completely open. People would come down and they could park down here. The restaurant on the left here has been closed for a number of years. Not sure why it's not been able to open, because it was really quite a good spot. So during these pandemic times, a lot of the services are held outside, and this is the outside area for this particular church. It's actually got some tape which is indicating where people can stand or sit. I think they bring folding chairs out, I'm not sure. And then there is the altar which the priests... This is why we come here. We come here to have a look at the view. Down into Portals. I like to see. So looking down there to Portals. And then this is what people now talk of as being the Portals Nous beach. When we first came here, it wasn't a beach at all. There was no sand here. There was just a narrow strip of pebbles. The ships came in and they pumped sand onto the beach. It was evenly distributed over the whole length. But there was a little bit of movement in the water, and that caused the sand to be moved from the left hand side, as we're looking at it now, and make a really quite wide beach over onto the right hand side. And it's been pretty stable ever since. We do get storms, and the road which runs down from Calle Marina, top there, the water just comes gushing down, and so roughly where that first line of beds is, between the beds and the little cars that go into the water, the sand would get completely washed away there, and there'd be quite a deep gully created. It soon sort of sorts itself out. I don't think they cancel do anything, they just sort it out, and the beach gets regenerated. Got a few boats out, as you would expect. Beautiful weather. Chiming with the bells. The beach bar down there has had its ups and downs, particularly during the COVID times of last year, when they were having parties and far too many people were there, so they got fined. It's back up and running now. Whether it's the same people, I'm not so sure. So thank you very much for watching the video, and Anita's enjoying her knitting club, and she's going out for lunch after that. But I'm going to meet some friends, and I'm going to lunch in Son Caliu. It's a lad's lunch, and so thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.